Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, let's thanks to Allah who has given us mercy and blessing until we can meet together in this place. Salawat and salam made to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness to the lightness, from the bad character into the good one. Okay, we are from four group. Our member is Nabila Isra Syahida, Nabila Arifa, and Najwa Ridla. The first speakers is me, Nabila Isra Syahida. Before we start, let's watch this video first.
Hari masih pagi, namun para pedagang di kawasan Tanah Abang sudah diburu waktu untuk segera membereskan dagangan mereka. Bukan tanpa alasan, mereka tak mau barang dagangannya ludes diangkut petugas Satpol PP yang melakukan penertiban Selasa pagi. Bahkan mereka yang sedang melayani pelanggan pun terpaksa membatalkan transaksi dan memilih untuk merapikan dagangan mereka. Raut kepanikan terlihat jelas di wajah para pedagang.
Boleh saya tahu, Pak?
Oh, terus kenapa masih jualan, Bu?
Ya, namanya juga dari rezeki,
Oh,
Pak.
gitu, iya.
Maaf, Bu.
Kalau harapannya gimana sih, Bu?
Harapannya kita kalau dagang itu nggak diukur-ukur asli terus, Pak.
Razia kali ini sengaja dilakukan oleh petugas gabungan dari Kecamatan Tanah Abang, Kota Administrasi Jakarta Pusat, dan Satpol PP lantaran menjamurnya pedagang yang berjualan menggunakan fasilitas umum untuk berjualan.
Ini kita giat rutin, penyisiran sepanjang Jalan Farudin sampai Jalan Jati Baru. Ya, untuk pedagang kaki lima ini sebenarnya tidak boleh yang ada di bahu jalan, kita suruh ke pojok atau ke dalam untuk.
Meski pedagang terus bermunculan dan kembali menjajakan dagangan saat petugas telah melintas, namun razia penertiban PKL akan terus dilakukan mengingat akan masuknya bulan Ramadan. Kali Putra, Jakarta.
This often happens in Indonesia, especially big city. From the video just now, the seller violated rules set by the government, so they exploit from the place. And usually they also sell after the legal officer leave, as not to be told to leave. Why do they really need here? Of course, they are needed in economic aspect, especially in urban areas, because they are able to provide they are able to provide jobs to people who are not accommodated in formal sector. That's why there is street vendors rules. So, what are the street vendors rules? There are 3 points and 3 example offenses. The first, carry out business activity according to the stipulated time. Example, in Durensawit, Jakarta, a number of street vendors selling overtime disbanded to prevent crowds from forming until morning. The second, maintain the health, cleanliness, beauty, order, and security of the environment where the activity is carried out. Example, in Rangkas, Banten, the street vendor occupying the road body, which makes the area look dirty. So the government relocates them to make it more tidy. And the last, number 3, doesn't interfere to traffic flow and public interest. Example, at the video just now, the street vendors breaking rules number 3, which hinders the mobility of others. Okay. The previous example was an example of a street vendor violation. It turned out that they're the officer who violate that which causes unpeaceful condition. Example, in Bogor, there are street vendors who don't respond the officer appeals because they often ignore the officers are emotional for a moment and strangle the street vendors. So, what is the solution about this problem? I think the action must be taken not only from the government, but must be taken to street vendors, because they need make environment peaceful and healthy. The first solution from the government is must uphold justice without expectation. And the solution from the street vendors obey the existing rules for everyone's convenience. But not infrequently, this solution ends in a conflict between two parties. So I also want to provide a solution that it runs smoothly and peacefully. Other solution is negotiate. Negotiate between legal official and street vendor in order to reach a mutual agreement. Also provide their capital and special training for registered street vendors and gradual registration. The last, street vendor not criminal who keep breaking the rules, but they are a social problem that must be overcome. They are like that because they need money to live. I hope that in the future, the job opportunities will be wider and they can feel a good education. So that problem like this will be resolved itself. And that's all for me. Thank you. Next, my partner will explain their problem to Nabila Arifah. Time is yours.
Okay, Najwa, can you next slide? Okay, today I will discuss the topic of recharging juvenile delinquency. But before discussing the problem, I will show a news video about juvenile delinquency. Najwa, can you play the video?
Sekelompok remaja mengejar pengemudi sepeda motor lain ini sambil menakuti dengan senjata tajam di kawasan Kanal Banjir Timur, Jakarta Timur, dan viral di media sosial. Aksi ini pun meresahkan warga.
Sementara itu, tim patroli perintis presisi Polda Metro Jaya menangkap belasan pemuda yang sedang nongkrong di bawah flyover Pondok Bambu Durensawit, Jakarta Timur pada Jumat dini hari.
Video memperlihatkan 4 remaja mengejar pengendara sepeda motor di kawasan Kanal Banjir Timur Cakung, Jakarta Timur pada Selasa malam 8 Maret lalu menjadi viral di media sosial. Dalam video yang direkam oleh salah satu remaja ini, 4 pelaku mengendarai 2 sepeda motor. Dengan berboncengan menakut-nakuti pengendara sepeda motor di depannya sambil mengenakan senjata tajam. Ulah para remaja ini membuat resah warga di sekitar Kanal Banjir Timur, lantaran di kawasan ini kerap terjadi tindakan kriminalitas yang menyasar kepada pengendara sepeda motor.
Ya, lewat dari ujung Menteng ke arah Pasar Modern. Ya, sekitar jam 7 malam lah, pas orang kerja. Terus dia ngejar-ngejar orang gitu, sambil gini-gini celurit.
Celuritnya gede, Mak?
Ya lumayan sih, 1 meter kayaknya.
Warga berharap polisi menggelar patroli terutama pada malam hari hingga dini hari. Tim patroli perintis presisi Polda Metro Jaya menangkap belasan pemuda yang sedang nongkrong di bawah flyover Pondok Bambu Durensawit, Jakarta Timur pada Jumat dini hari. Dalam pemeriksaan yang dilakukan terhadap belasan pemuda tersebut, petugas tidak menemukan apa-apa. Namun petugas menahan 14 unit kendaraan roda 2 mereka karena tidak sesuai ketentuan, seperti tanda spion dan plat kendaraan, knalpot bising, serta tidak memiliki kelengkapan surat.
Dua di jalan. Untuk tindak lanjut setelahnya itu kami menghubungi Brigade Satuan Lalu Lintas Wilayah untuk segera menindaklanjuti pelanggaran tersebut karena tidak sesuai dengan kendaraan roda 2 tersebut, banyak yang tidak sesuai dengan kendaraan.
Sementara belasan pemuda yang kedapatan nongkrong diminta untuk pulang. Tim Liputan CNN Indonesia.
Well, from the video, juvenile delinquency is very serious problem because it disturbs residents and can even cause victims. Adolescence. Adolescence is a period when humans are looking for their identity, want to know they really are, and at this age, humans usually want to try everything new in their life. At this age, human experience a period called puberty. At puberty, humans usually want to try everything new in their life. Various emotions arise, and many problems arise in their family and social environment. Definition of juvenile delinquency. The definition of juvenile delinquency is all acts of violating the rules in society that are carried out by teenagers. The social phenomenon, also known as juvenile delinquency, is often found among students. Brawl is one example of juvenile delinquency that often occurs. There are many common examples of juvenile delinquency, ranging from harmless to criminal. Some of these examples include fighting, skipping school, driving without license, taking things belonging to parents or others without permission, drinking, illegal racing, theft, and even murder. Juvenile delinquency in Indonesia has become a social phenomenon that cannot be denied. I often see a middle school kid smoking and destroying other people's property. Juvenile delinquency can have a negative impact both of themselves, their family, or even society. The perceived impact can be physical or mental. For example, drug addiction to a defined personality. On the other hand, the impact of juvenile delinquency on the family can cause disharmony and disconnection of communication between children and parents. If juvenile delinquency has an impact on other people's life, of course, society view of teenager and their family will be bad. Why factors of juvenile delinquency. Why this juvenile delinquency can happen? There are two factors that cause juvenile delinquency. First, internal factors. Internal are one of the things that cause adolescents to behave in certain ways that come from themselves. The internal factors occur within the individual itself, which take place through a wrong internalization process in solving problems around him, and all influence that come from outside, including gender and position in the family or society. Second, factors from outside or external are things that emerge juvenile delinquency that come from outside the teenager personal self, namely the surrounding environment, which include the family, school, and community environment. Solution and overcoming and the last solution and overcoming juvenile delinquency. In dealing with juvenile delinquency, of course, it takes the participation of family, teachers, and the intention of the youth to overcome juvenile delinquency. There are several ways that can be done to prevent and overcome juvenile delinquency, including as a parent, you can overcome juvenile delinquency by providing direction about the dangers of promiscuity, supervising children association, being firm, supporting children hobbies, establishing good communication with children, and instilling religious and social norms. As a teacher, you can deal with juvenile delinquency by setting a good example to students, act as a mentor, strengthening teacher-student relationship, and so on. As teenager, we can avoid juvenile delinquency by choosing the right and good social environment and forming self-reliance so that is not easily influenced by bad influence. So those are some ways to deal with juvenile delinquency that can be done. Of course, juvenile delinquency can be resolved properly if the roles of parents, teachers, and other adults have been running properly. In addition, it takes a strong commitment from the youth themselves not to fall into wrong association that will only harm in their future. Maybe that's all I can say. Sorry if there are still many mistakes. The next explanation will be explained by Najwa Ridwan.
Okay, thank you, Nabila Arifah. Okay, now I'm going to presentation about the tanker truck overturn and scarcity of the cooking oil in the market. The past few months, cooking oil hard to find in the market, starting from grocery stores, and even supermarkets do not have cooking oil stocks. In the midst of the COVID outbreak that is still hitting Indonesia, Indonesia is again faced with a cooking oil scarcity crisis. The scarcity of this cooking oil makes residents scramble and queue to buy cooking oil. And it is feared that the number of people who are positively exposed to COVID will be higher. And far from the incident that is being discussed, there was an accident about a tanker truck carrying cooking oil overturned in Ciamis. For the full news, let's see a video that was taken from one of the national television broadcasts about this incident.
Kita ke kabar pertama, pemirsa, truk tangki muatan minyak goreng terguling di Ciamis, Jawa Barat. Tangki bocor dan ribuan liter minyak goreng bocor dan tumpah ke jalan. Warga yang melihat kejadian ini justru berebut mengambil minyak goreng yang tumpah di jalan dan selokan.
Kecelakaan minyak goreng.
Inilah video amatir yang merekam warga ketika truk tangki muatan minyak goreng terguling di warung jarak Jalan Raya Cipaku, Ciamis, Jawa Barat, Selasa petang.
Disolokan, guys.
Tangki bagian belakang bocor sehingga ribuan liter minyak goreng tumpah ke jalan. Terlihat warga justru mencoba mengambil minyak goreng yang tumpah itu menggunakan ember dan botol air mineral. Saksi mata, truk bermuatan minyak goreng itu melaju dari arah Cirebon menuju Ciamis. Saat di jalan tikungan, truk tiba-tiba oleng ke kiri sehingga terguling. Truk dan kernet sempat terlempar keluar truk, namun hanya mengalami luka ringan.
Arah Cirebon mau menuju ke Ciamis. Mobil ini tuh dari sana, dari sana ya. Udah kencang. Katanya supirnya remnya belum. Lampu udah dinyalain semua dari sana.
Lantaran banyaknya minyak goreng yang tumpah, badan jalan di kedua arah menjadi licin. Proses evakuasi truk tangki ini terpaksa harus mendatangkan mobil derek. Akibat kecelakaan ini, arus lalu lintas sempat tersendat. Dari Ciamis, Jawa Barat, Aditya Triwahyudi, TV One mengabarkan.
So, as we hear seen just now, it is known that the tanker truck carrying cooking oil overturned in the highway connecting Ciamis Cirebon to be priced at Warung Distance, Muktisari Village, Cipaku District, Ciamis Regency, Tuesday afternoon, 29 March 2022, at around 13:30 West Indonesian time. According to residents' information, initially the cooking oil tanker truck arrived in a downhill road and then turned a corner. Then, tanker truck did not slow down. The cooking oil tanker truck is suspect of having failed brakes. Then, the truck hit the cliff wall belonging to a resident house. Then, the truck rolled onto the road. Part of the tank leaked after a hard impact, so that the lead of cooking oil spilled in the ditches and roads. Local residents who saw the incident immediately took advantage of it to take cooking oil using buckets and other containers. However, some of the oil continues to flow into the ditch. According to residents, the tank contained 14,000 liters. However, the related parties have not confirmed the amount of the cooking oil at cargo. This single accident resulted in several hours of traffic jam on Ciamis Cirebon Street. According to local residents, the driver and the assistant in the tanker truck were injured. Then, residents called an ambulance and took them to the hospital. Ciamis police explained that the Z9756TA tanker truck was transporting bulk cooking oil. The truck was driven by Anwar Alamir and his assistant named Harry. It is not yet known how much loss was experienced in this accident. And it is also known that the truck transporting this cooking oil chose the Padasuka company. After discussing the overturned the tanker truck, let's discuss the problem of scarcity of cooking oil in the market. Cooking oil has become an expensive and rare item these days. This condition has been going on for at least the last half year. Here's the chronology. In August 2021, the price of cooking oil, which is usually 14,000 rupiah per liter, has increased in 20,000 rupiah per liter in a number of regions in Indonesia. In November 2021, the Ministry of Trade states that the increase in cooking oil price was triggered by the increase in CPO, or crude palm oil prices in the international markets due to supply disruption for the raw materials. Other vegetables, oils saw the demand for CPO increase and the prices rises. The Ministry of Trade does not intervene in the increase because the domestic stock of cooking is still 6,028 tons and sufficient to meet the need of a 0.5 month. In 31 December, Director General of Domestic Trade believed cooking oil prices will drop after the new year because CPO prices have fallen. In 3 January, President Jokowi ordered Trade Minister to immediately address the increase in cooking oil prices so as not to burden the public. In 10 January, the Ministry of Trade has implemented a cooking oil policy of 14,000 rupiah per liter in retail from January 19 June and in the traditional market the week after. But the policy failed miserably. After that, cooking oil is scarce in retail and traditional market. And 27 January, the Ministry of Trade enforced the policy of DMO and DPO cooking oil to lower prices. In 1 February, cooking oil in highest retail price and still scarce and expensive. In 9 March, Trade Minister suspect that the scarcity and high cost of cooking oil is triggered by importing and smuggling. In 13 March, Jokowi reviewed mini markets and traditional market. The stock of cooking oil in the mini market is empty even though the price is already 14,000 rupiah. Now, let's discuss what are government ways to deal with the cooking oil in Indonesia. According to an economist in Airlangga University, Rosanto Dwihandoyo said the supply of cooking oil in the domestic market is getting lost and lost. So, the government needs to make effort to increase the productivity of cooking oil production. First, increase cooking oil export tax. If domestic demand is still lacking, the government can increase export taxes, thereby reducing the motivation of domestic producers to export oil abroad due to high tax. 2. Biodiesel 30%. The percentage of biodiesel can be reduced to 20% during times of turbulent cooking oil scarcity. 3. Market operation. The government conducts market operation by tracking producers who have an obligation to supply domestic needs. In addition to opinion from economic observers from Airlangga University, several state officials also gave suggestions to the community in order to overcome the use of a lot of cooking oil, such as Mrs. Megawati Soekarnoputri, suggests that people cook food by steaming and boiling. Also, Mr. Ma'ruf Amin, who would increase when it was seen that there was hoarding of cooking oil. Both of these things reap of a lot of pros and cons among the community. Whatever happens, hopefully the government can do anything so that cooking oil is not scarce and return to normal prices as before. Enough of the presentation of materials about scarcity of cooking oil in the market and the accident of the oil tanker truck that overturned. Sorry if there are many mistakes. Thank you so much for your attention. I will return it to the moderator.
Okay, can you next slide? Okay, thank you guys for your attention. And that's enough for us. Sorry for all of our mistake. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.